Get to the point of your life in which people ask for a donation and it's not offensive.
Watch it, Reverend.
Amen. If you can't give, it only means it's not your time. See, Dion, somebody needs to hear this. If you can't give, it's not your time. That's no, God's not mad at you, or the universe not mad at you, or whatever you think, or you just, or people always want. No, it just means that me and Jerome got this. Me and Jerome got this. I literally, Tracy sent me a link. I said, wait a minute, let me re-up, because I know I follow very strict. I only spend 40% of my income. I don't know if Tracy's stuff is over or not. Don't matter. I'm still gonna hit that Stripe link, even if it's too late. And she's still gonna get a donation from me once I re-up. I typically re-up around every 28th, 29th of the month. Tracy, would you please unmute your mic and tell him when you sent me some Stripe link? And I shared it. I shared it to my stories. I really did. I couldn't give, but like Sandra, I shared. But Tracy, please tell them how far behind I am in giving to whatever you got going on.
That video went out. That scholarship was the week before Mother's Day, the week of Mother's Day. So around May the 8th, 9th.
Oh, I'm late. I'm like 2 or 3 weeks late. But I tell you what, though, Ina, unexpected money has always been on time. This
The
is where
organ
you
would have
need
went right
church
there.
folks.
I was
Yeah,
just
this is
I'm
where you
eating some
need
chips.
church folks grace. Right here.
I was
Right
eating
here
some
is
chips.
where you need.
The organ would have
Yeah,
went right there.
I
yeah, 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 yeah.
received that. Yes, sir.
Yes. Unexpected money always on time. I bet you she take my late scholarship money. Promise you that. Baby, even though the deadline is passed, go on, buy your school books. Yeah, get it. Go and get some McDonald's or something. You understand? All right. Anywho, thank you for your support. I sounded like a grizzly bear earlier. And Dion talked to me earlier this morning. I sounded terrible. I sounded very terrible. But it is what it is. It's just my my kids went to a baby shower, and kids come back with that death, you know. And he came back, and then Ashton, the middle child, got sick. He went to the emergency room, and then the baby girl. That's the other one who hugged me. The boys don't hug me; they give me fist pounds. They give me fist pounds. The baby girl hugs me, and the moment she hugged me, I felt my throat itch. You hear me? I mean, as soon as, and so yeah, there you go. But
Don't do my friend like that.
wait, I told her. She said, "Oh, Daddy, I threw up. I'm sorry you sick too." I was like, "Baby, it's worth getting sick from you." And I told her, "It's all right. I'm supposed to get sick from you."
That
She's
is the
6.
answer to a daddy's girl. That is the
But she's definitely a daddy's girl. But I mean, she should be 7 July 2nd, which means I got one more year, Susan, before her consciousness is locked in like y'all's is. So I'm doing everything I can, Phil.
And guess what I learned?
Okay, what you learn?
Between the ages of 7 and 10, whatever neural pathways that you have not strengthened, it goes through this process called neuro pruning. And your brain naturally prunes the neural pathways that you have not strengthened.
Indeed.
And from a 10 to and then from like 10 to 25, it's just the strengthening of the neural pathways that you already have.
It sure does. Neuroplasticity is another word for that. Napoleon Hill calls it auto-suggestion. There's
Yeah.
so many different things going on about that. Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
And find out why we, excuse my language, I found out why we do so much dumb shit from the ages of 14 to 25. Because the
Before you finish,
okay.
no,
I got excited.
watch this here. Because it's not done.
True.
No.
It's not dumb.
Think about what you're about to say, and then recognize that that's when we have the most non-tribal thinking, and that's what we call dumb.
Yes, and not only the reason why it's non-tribal thinking is because the stuff that we compacted into our brains from like 0 to 10 or 0 to 14, the connection from the back of the brain to the frontal lobe has not solidified and between in the adolescent years. So what we would cognitively process as adults in our frontal lobe does not happen during our adolescent years from the 14 to the 25. So we do the non-tribal stuff without thinking about the consequences because that whole connection has not been made yet. Because there's also a time period where I think they said it's between like 3 to 7 that the right hemisphere connects to the left hemisphere. That's why it takes kids so long to make decisions because it's slowly processing from one hemisphere to the other.
Well, there's so much I want to say about what you're saying right now, but I don't want to. But there's a great book called Sapiens. Sapiens. Grace, Google the book Sapiens. There's only one book, Sapiens. Put it on the screen while we let Tracy talk. It would back up everything Deanna's saying. It's a great book, Sapiens. It just came out like last year or something. It's making extreme waves. It's a great book. It's one of those books. Remember a long time ago I told y'all Code Extraordinary Mind went to my #2 book of all time, like immediately. Well, Sapiens jumped into my top 10. It jumped into my top 10. It's a great book. It's a great book. That's it right there. Sapiens. It's a great book. It really is. Sapiens. So there you go. Boom. All right, go ahead, Tracy. And you first off, you're not looking like today was last day of school. You looking like today is the first day of school. What you looking like? Go ahead.
No, retirement parties are all this week, today and tomorrow. But no. I'm gonna just because what is great about hearing Deanna say that is my first section that I teach in 7th to 7th graders. Everything you just said about the decision making and the prefrontal lobe and the limbic system and the brain, everything teenage brain, that is the social and emotional self-awareness skill. And my daughters are listening, and I'm thinking for the fact that a lot of adults really still do not know that. It's interesting to hear you saying that that's something that you're learning now, right? And I'm just feeling really good that I'm able to teach that now to these 12 and 13-year-olds so that they can understand their decision making and how hopefully the skills that I'm teaching will help them do better in life. So everything she just said is 100% on point.
Oh yeah. No, for sure. It's why I don't want to say. It's why I purposely didn't add to it. I just recommended a book that would, due to I'm a nerd, a rocket scientist, and I didn't want to step on her talk with rocket science information.
And then
Sapiens is good. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I added the name and the author of the book.
Good job, Renee.
This is actually one of my textbooks, which is crazy. And this is actually the guy who developed the course I'm currently taking. And his book is our textbook, and that's the title of it.
No doubt, no doubt. And I'm hoping some of my books become textbooks. Not all of them. I don't intend all of them become textbooks, but some of them. But we'll get to that when we get to that. All right. We're in the second week of, man, it's a lot of y'all cameras off. Okay, I got some messages. Okay, y'all gonna have to fix that. If you ain't sending me a message, you got to fix that. That's for sure. It is what it is. We're in our second week of free will. This is going to get difficult. And I promise for the next 7 weeks, that's this week and the 8th one, I won't mess with your head no more. I promise. The first week,
I don't believe you. I do not believe you, sir. That sounds like a lie to me, okay? But go ahead, continue.
I agree.
okay, so it is a lie.
Hey,
But but I won't irritatingly mess with your head anymore. I will just present science and we will have an even conversation about the science. Last week was not even. Last week I was clearly a mental giant effing with y'all. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Now here's the deal. Respectfully, Tanya, 2 of y'all got mad at me last week. You called me. So one of y'all called me, God exists. Don't tell me God doesn't exist. And I was like, well, I didn't say God don't exist. I actually proved your God does exist according to right. And none of y'all was like, well, don't tell me about I stopped that one. So let me help y'all with my current statement as is. I didn't agree with nothing I said last week. In the Smith household, we have balloons everywhere because there's so many birthdays.
So you purposely rattled people's cages?
No. Everything I said last week was true.
No, I know. But you
But
said you didn't believe it, so you rattled our.
there's a difference. There's a difference between me and y'all. I can believe in stuff that fucks with my paradigm. Y'all cannot.
So you were rattling the paradigms. That's what you was doing.
See, I need you to get everything that I said last week. I hate it. I absolutely unequivocally hate it. One of y'all called me, a third one of y'all called me last week and was like, and I was like, you know what's crazy? I think it was you, Grace. I think it was you. Did I say it to you? Okay, Grace, to your best memory, tell them what I said to you.
okay, I do not remember it. Maybe I think if you was go leading into it, I probably can't remember what you said. But
You was the first person to
I
call me, and then such and such
yeah.
called me, and then such and such called me after that. I'm not gonna call him. I'm not gonna call any names. But
Mhm.
but here's the deal. I didn't agree with that. First off, listen, y'all. Listen, everybody look at me. Look at me. I believe I'm going to change the world. How can I believe in determinism? Like think about this. I got you down. Just give me 1 minute. How can I possibly believe in the church for the unchurched, but believe like you're not really thinking about Antonio Smith and everything I said last week, Susan. When you really think about me being a pioneer teacher, everything that I said last week disgusted me. But I have to deal with its existence. Y'all get it? I am a rebel. They have words for me. In the United States military, they call us path.
Asshole.
Well, fair enough. That's in the military, that's in the unmilitary, that's in the Boy Scouts, that's in the Girl Scouts. That's in all of them, Jerome. Okay, that's in all of them. That's in all of them for sure. I hated everything I said last week. I hate the entire conversation of free will. I hate the fact that I don't get to make my choices. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. I didn't create mountains. I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mountains. But I respect the fact that I didn't create mo that this Joseph A. Banks was not my idea, that I didn't make Susan blonde. I didn't make Jerome handsome. I just respect that there are a lot of things in this world that prove we don't make our choices. I'm not telling you to agree with me, but Tanya, what I am saying is we all need to sit down at this table and respect that even the teacher who bothered y'all last week hated everything he said.
Real quick, look in the
Yep.
chat. I don't mean to cut you off. But Beyonce, no. Look in the chat real quick. Let's see what Melissa did.
Yeah, she
Call the
just did
bookstore.
something.
Call the bookstore. Call the bookstore, sir.
I'm at Harvard. All right, well, keep on going with this. So put me in Harvard then. All right, then I didn't even know I gave you rights to that book.
Harvard bookstore.
I didn't even know I gave Melissa rights to that book. I must love her. Yeah, that's the first book. That's like
You're welcome.
Oh, that
that's like
war.
Tupac giving his masters away. I mean, there you go. Good stuff. She said God of War as well. Listen. Oh yeah, sure, right there. Hear me. Hear me well. This conversation is going to be a little bit easier. It's going to be super scientific though. And I'm going to have to copy and paste y'all some stuff. I've prepared bold and bullet points for your pleasure beforehand. Okay, I've done that for you. All right, point number one. This grace is actually Grace, if you don't mind. No, don't read. Deanna, you read. Nobody's gonna understand this but Phil and Susan or something. Nobody else is gonna understand this. Okay. It's
I think
just
Deanna had her hand up before you started with the list.
okay. But don't read this yet, Deanna. Okay. Give me your hand first and then you read it.
Delete it? What you
I
doing?
did because I'm gonna repost it. Because you
Oh.
can't do two things. Go ahead.
Okay. So last week it is determined that I am what is it called? A hard determinist?
You
Something.
are everybody here is a hard determinist. Stop. Everybody here there's not a single person here that is a hard free willist. Susan ended one of her conversations by saying, and that's just what I believe, that's a hard determinist. Okay. Like, I need y'all to get this. Because someone who believes in free will don't believe in beliefs. It's not the point of free will. Everyone here is a hard determinist.
Okay.
Okay, keep going.
Wait. But if you believe in free will, ain't that a determination?
If you believe in free will, what? Say it again.
Isn't that a belief?
I didn't belief in free will is a belief. I didn't say so. What you heard me say was belief is wrong. That's what you heard. See, everybody's hearing me how you're hearing me. That's not what I communicated. Excuse me, that's not what I said. What I communicated to Grace was belief is whatever the hell she's heard. Because what I communicate and what I'm saying are two different things. What I'm saying is what I think I'm saying. What I communicate is whatever the hell Ina hears. Let's make it clear. Okay. When I'm attempting to say and communicate is as long as y'all believe in the afterlife, you believe in determinism because you cannot have a free will afterlife. You didn't choose good or bad through free will that was already chosen for you, nor did you choose in heaven or hell. So as long as you believe in an afterlife, you are a determinist, whether you want to be or not, because an afterlife says there's a cause that happened before you got here. And no matter what you do, if you choose these options, you'll get there. That's a determinist. You don't get to pick outside of this. Now, if you're in your car I love you so much with your fine self. You're more than welcome to cut your camera off. Okay. I appreciate you though. I do. I really do. Just don't die. Okay. Just don't die. All right. There you go. Okay. Do y'all hear me? If you believe in an afterlife, then it is your moral obligation to admit you believe in determinism. It's afterlife. Afterlife says, when Jerome goes, well, I believe in heaven. Okay, Jerome, who gave you that idea? I did. Lies, lies, lies. You get okay. This time, Deanna, we come back to you, but this time I am Ina. Do me a favor. In your fourth language, English is Ina's fourth language. Fourth language. So if she can read what I just put in chat in her fourth language, then we can at least hear the first few sentences. Go ahead, Ina, please. I really just need the top one.
Okay, here we go. Causal determinism and quantum mechanics, an expanded analysis, causal determinism. Classical mechanics. The debate reinforces that within the framework of classical mechanics, particularly Newtonian physics, the universe operates in a deterministic manner.
Stop right there, Ina. Thank you so much. First off, you did a good job. I'm pretty sure you ain't understand the words you just said, but good job though. Good job though. Very good job. You read all those syllables the way you were supposed to read them. But you got my first point. They didn't understand what they meant. The English natives, if you were an English native and you understood that, would you besides Phyllis Susan got it. We're not talking about them. The rest of y'all. Okay, Trinae says she got it. All right. So Phil, Susan, Trinae, and Damali. The rest of y'all, it was like, huh? Here's what this means. Okay. Listen. This was this. It means that in regular science that we've accepted, we call it Newtonian physics. Newton. Everything has a cause. And every cause has an effect. And you don't get to escape from those things. That's where we get our three laws of motion. Because an apple hit his head and out came these things. That's what it is. This is what this means. Therefore, back to you, Deanna, in 1 minute. Listen to me. Therefore, I want everybody to hear me. We do not get to escape determinism. I'm not telling Susan to agree with it, but I am saying if you believe sin gets this response, non-sin gets this response, you are a flaming determinist. Flaming. By flaming, I mean, I want you to think of the gayest person in Brooklyn. I mean flaming homosexual in Brooklyn on Pride Month with pink spandex. That's a dude. And I want you to think of them with the boisterous personality that talks with the non-talky voice. It's not a male voice, it's not a female voice. It's elongated. It's my God, drinks. Yes, honey. That person, that's you. You are a flaming determinist. You're just like gay. Okay. You're just like gay. But you're that as equal as the 6'7" dude in spandex that is pink with a pride flag on it. That's how much you are a determinist, whether you want to admit it or not. You're that much of a determinist. You cannot be a determinist and don't study the Quran. If you study the Quran, the Torah, or the Bible, you are a flaming determinist. You have no choice. You have no choice. You have no. First off, you're studying a book over 2,000 years old. That's determinism in itself. That's in itself. I'm not calling determinism bad because I used all of week 1 to show you how determinism is good. But y'all got mad at me when I did that. Okay. All right. Go ahead, y'all.
Okay, so I'm a hard determinist, but I hate rules. You ain't gonna tell me this is what it is, because it's not what it
Right.
is, what I say it is.
Right.
But at the same time, I understand.
So I got to stop right there. I'm glad your phone ring. Got to stop right there. Some of y'all are like Deanna, you're going, I'm a hard determinist, but at the same time, you tell me what to do. That's not determinism.
Okay,
That's postmodernity.
what is postmodernity?
Exactly. You're confusing determinism with hypermodernity. Postmodernity, hypermodernity is the same thing. Modernism is when Phil and Susan were growing up, and Jerome, that was modernism. This is when they said, okay, so I need to take you all the way back. World history. And me and Dr. Ferris go over this on one of these little things we talk about offline. So we'll start at Jesus. We'll start at Jesus. Okay, we'll start at Jesus. We'll call the Jesus period. Okay, we'll just call it that. That's not what it's called, but for common vernacular, we'll call it that. Muslims believe in the Jesus period. Torah believe in the Jesus period. And Christians believe in Jesus period. That doesn't mean you believe that Jesus was a son of God. It just means that you believe that a dude named Jesus caused some trouble. Is that okay? That okay, that's okay. It just means that it was a Negro named Jesus out here doing some stupid stuff or whatever. Okay, you say what you want to say, but there we go. All right, so just so we're clear. Now that's 32 to 34 AD. From there, we get all the way to 500. We call that the Apostolic Fathers period. This is the period of the people who are the apostolic fathers who wrote the church, who created Western civilization as we know it today. You don't have to agree with it, but if you heard of Clemens, Augustine, if you heard of any Plato was a little earlier, but if you heard of any of these things, if you live in America, you believe in this Western civilization. If you think a woman should wear a bikini or a bathing suit and not get shot or poisoned, you believe in Western civilization. Just so we're clear. All right. All right. So that's 500. From 500 to 1500, we call that, it's a few names for it: Dark Ages, Medieval Ages. Those are the basic two names, or the white folk with castles period, if you black. But that's, that's just, but the technical terms for this field is medieval or dark ages. Why? Because the reason it was dark is not because we were out there killing folk, Dion. We killed folk regularly. It's because Phil and Susan and Antonio didn't write that down, because dark ages meant, hey, all this belongs to the Lord, so we don't take credit for anything. And if you go type in Ina, if you go to first off, Susan, Ina, Phil, Deanna, because most of your heritage is Norse, Druid to be specific. Most of Deanna's DNA is Druid. Tanya, all y'all are not allowed to disagree with what I'm saying, because back then most of the music didn't even have words, if it had any at all. Didn't even have any at all. Now watch this here. That's 5 to 1500. And then something happened, Susan. We fooled around and let Susan start talking. And Susan said, you know what? We should go back to where times were good. And Susan asked Phil, well, when were times good? And Phil said, I like when those Greeks were walking. And we call that the Renaissance. Grace, do me a favor. Spell Renaissance as best as you can. I'm going to be quiet. and then put Renaissance meaning, and you will see Google would call it rebirth. Renaissance is a Latin word for rebirth. You don't have to do it, Grace. I was being facetious.
Renaissance.
Don't worry about it.
Renaissance.
Queen Renee got out there for you. Renaissance is a Latin word that means rebirth. Now, here's the deal. That means Phyllis Susan said, let's just jump over the whole 500 to 1800. Oh, yeah. We about to, let me go and put that in there right now. 500 to 1800. You got the Renaissance period. Now, from 700 to 1400, you have the age of the Moors, or sexy Antonio folk. Look like this. The Hebrew Golden Age is 1200 to 900 BC. And then floats over. So this is where you got all your black folk walking around being black folk. Okay. Now, from that period, this is where it gets fun, Susan. Which made me tell Deanna, stop right there. From that period, from 1500 to 1750, we call that the Renaissance. And then something happens, Ina. You ready for this? Y'all seen the painting where God touches man? Almost. To the Sistine Chapel. Y'all seen it? That's sacrilegious. How dare man be so close to God? But that's the Renaissance period. The Renaissance period can be stood out by logic and reasoning over faith. Because guess what happened during the Greek time? Logic and reasoning over faith. Guess what the Romans stole from the Greeks? Logic and reasoning over faith. The entire Roman history, the entire antiquity, entire Roman culture is a stealing of Greek culture. Where there's Zeus, there's Jupiter. They literally took every god of the Greeks and said, let's just rename them. I wish I had a history book in this place real quick. I'm not making this up. So now something happened in 1750, Jerome. We call it the age of the isms, but we also call it the Enlightenment period. And this is where John Locke wrote down for England to where we will not have no king rule over us. We will be a sovereign. Y'all gonna hit me today. John Locke, a United Kingdom citizen, not United Kingdom yet, said we will not have nobody rule over us as a king. Y'all ready for this? And John Locke wrote one of the greatest theological treatises to ever exist. It wasn't theological. And Thomas Edison stole it word for word. You missed it. Rewind, press play. 1776 is when the United States of America is founded. July 4th, to be exact. They make us remember it when you join the military. I just told you 1750, Damali, is when the Enlightenment period happened. And I just told you during 1750 to 1790 that John Locke was in England going, the United Kingdom will be a sovereign state, and there will be no king in Sweden. There will be no king in Iris. There will be none that will tell us what to do. And guess what Thomas Edison said? We like that. So no taxation without representation. There will be no king in England, in Europe, telling us what to do in the colonies. Y'all could think I'm playing. I'm spitting all facts, and I'm not even putting nothing on them. We call that Enlightenment period. And I guarantee, Grace, do me a favor, just to prove that I'm telling the truth. I want you to Google the Thomas Jefferson Bible Somebody just got offended. Somebody said, oh, Antonio, you would not disrespect my Lord like that. Grace, Google the Thomas Jefferson Bible. Put it on the screen. Show us the Google on the screen so we know, Grace, that you're not making this up. We don't want no Photoshop. Get the Grace, click that second link. Why Thomas Jefferson rewrote the Bible without Jesus. Does it not say that, Jerome? Does it not say that, Jerome? Does it not say that? Thomas Jefferson rewrote the Bible without Jesus, miracles, and resurrection. Does it not say that? Stop your screen, Grace. Share that link. Share that link. Up to this point, Dion, I've told 100% accurate historical truth. Yes. Thomas Jefferson rewrote the Bible. A non-scholar wrote the Bible. It's called the Thomas Jefferson Bible. He took out all the miracles of the Bible. That means this. When he took out all the miracles out of the Bible, guess what he took out, Jerome? The whole damn gospel. The gospel full of miracles. He took out Exodus. But he had to take out most of the Old Testament too. And guess what he was only left with, Susan? A Bible of logic and reasoning, thus proving the Enlightenment period pushed logic and reasoning above all things. And that's when y'all got the finger of God almost touching Adam in the Vatican. So what happens after the Enlightenment period? We call it modernity or modern period. Modernity is just an adjective for modern period. What does modern mean? It means too much enlightened. This means if you think these folk took the miracles out of the Bible, then tell them start talking about the universe. Y'all don't want to hear me. Y'all don't want to hear me. Y'all don't want to hear me.
Right. So it doesn't matter what they try to do. It literally brings everyone back to the same thing that what you were saying in the first place. Because every single person that has done anything to the Bible had to study it. And anyone that has created a book outside of the Bible that represents a force of spiritual knowledge of above and or under without a spiritual knowledge, they are doing exactly what you said. So everyone literally ends up in the same space and or place because the principles stand not by man, but for man. So it doesn't matter what they say or what they change. The process of getting there can fluctuate. However, even theologians will tell you that with all their studies, they have a favorite knowledge of one particular book that they cling to and or belief that they cling to simply because it lines up with what they are closer to at any given time. Sandra Lucky, just saying. I'm
okay.
I'm
Well, just saying.
I don't want no
Let
trouble.
me digress for a second. If y'all truth is the Bible, then you're going to be hit in the head with other truth. Okay, let me help you out for a second. At no point am I telling you that your Bible does not exist. So y'all about to make me look. Y'all about to try to make me a heathen, but I'm not. At no point am I telling you that your Bible is not a. At no point is your Bible not the infallible word of God. Do you hear me? I was going through world history. Sandra said, F world history, but the Bible says we all study that. Here's the problem with that. The entire Bible, excuse me, if we need to call the Bible just the Old Testament, can we do that? And can we call just the Old Testament just the Torah? Can we do that? Because that's what the Old Testament. Have I made a mistake somewhere? Is not the Old Testament the Torah? The Ketuvim?
That's
The,
true, but
the
there's
Tanakh.
still okay.
No, it's the Tanakh, the Torah, the writings, and the prophets, the Tanakh. So right now, I'm not saying anything that Sandra's not saying. You're ready to disagree with me, not Sandra, but y'all ready to disagree with me, but I ain't disagree with you. This hear me well. You're ready to disagree with me. I have not disagreed with you. Okay? Go ahead, Susan.
Yeah, something you said last week about not everyone will have heard the message of Jesus.
That's
but
in your Bible.
but it will be. We have the tribulation and the rapture, and then the tribulation, and then there's a reign on earth. Everyone will know before it's all over. Every single person will know who Christ is and that he rose from the dead.
Okay, so I gotta stop. I got let me jump in right there.
And this is from Dr. David Jeremiah. I've listened to it about 3 times in the last week. In pretty much Christian, but it's saying everyone, not, when the rapture and then the tribulation, and people have, those times when Moses and whoever's coming back, Elijah, will be preaching, but it'll be a kind of a bad time and a rough time. There will be another time where the entire world will know. Whoever doesn't know will know.
Okay, so we can change this whole class, and I can genuinely address Susan and Sandra right now to attempt to get y'all to not be open-minded. Don't be open-minded, because you'll need to be. Because Susan's not wrong, Sandra's not wrong. So I can shift and give y'all new information that's 100% scientifically written that you could read yourself, that I'm going to make you read yourself. I could do that. Or I could just move on. So
Okay.
not Susan, not Sandra.
So-
Hold on, no, not Susan, not Sandra. Not Susan, not Sandra. Let's go with Damali. Unmute your mic, Damali. All the pressure's on you.
Please move on.
He just
Okay.
came back. Now why you gonna put her on the spot?
I would very much like to move on.
Move on it is. Move on it is. Okay. So now here is firstly, I have not, and what I do out of respect, I'll address Sandra and Susan here in a little bit, but in a different way. But out of respect, I have not disagreed with your Bible. I told you world history. I had Grace Google it, so you know I didn't make up the Thomas Jefferson Bible. I'm not the one who took out the miracles, the
Antonio
gospel.
Jr.
Yes, ma'am.
Rightfully so.
Yep.
I have no argument. I'm not even in disagreement.
Well, I didn't say you had an argument. I didn't say Sue had an argument or in disagreement. I said what I could do was address it, but I tell you what I will do now is, after your comment, I will 100% address it, but I will do it in a way that would keep both crowds together. But I will 100% address it now. There's no doubt about it. Go ahead, Sandra.
Okay, so what I was saying was, say again what you said we were. The people that study the Bible are what? Because
I have no idea what I said there.
There's no.
I have
Determinists. We're determinists.
All of y'all are determinists.
Thank you, Grace.
That's a compliment, especially after what I did in week 1.
Right.
Especially after I did in week 1.
So all I'm saying is that everyone ends up being that because the principles that people are living by are either studied from, just like right now, you find people trying to not only sell stuff, but funnel stuff in a certain manner. They have to study. These principles have come down from believing in something works. And it all stems back to the principles that are coming from the Bible. Given it should be
So that's the
given.
problem, though. That's the problem, though. This is what I'm trying to. What are you calling the Bible? Are you calling the Old Testament and the New Testament the Bible? Is that the way you're using the Bible in this particular thing? Which one are you leaning to? Are you leaning to Jesus or are you leaning to the legality of the Bible? This I need you to answer this.
In a
Susan
whole
gave me her leanings.
entirety.
No, Susan gave me her leanings. Her leanings were very clear. She even quoted David Jeremiah. Her leanings were very clear. Susan skipped over Jesus, went to the Torah, then went to interpretation of the book of book of Revelations. So Susan took both of them together.
Okay.
So I got hers directly.
I get it.
So, okay, so give me yours real quick, and then I'll see what Phil was just trying to show on the screen, and then I will address all of this.
I love whatever God say.
Okay, the good thing is nobody has to be uncomfortable because here's the deal. It is not me saying a single uncomfortable thing. I am not even attacking religion, the Torah, the Quran, or the Bible. I want to make that very clear. I have yet to say a single thing against God, religion, or etc. However, since this came back up, I will address Susan, I will address Sandra, and I will address what everybody else is going to ask me. But first off, Phil was showing something on the screen. Let me let Phil have it. But when I address it, Phil, just give me 10 seconds. When I address it, nobody's going to be offended. I'm not going to offend a single person, and you're not going to think I even disagree with you. I'm just going to tell Grace to Google so you know it's out there. Okay, go ahead, Phil.
They've actually documented 34 gospels.
That's we coming back to that, Phil. We absolutely coming back to that. We coming back to that. He's got it right now. Before we get to the 34 gospels, which technically is 13.4 billion years after the conversation I'm trying to have, which is 2,000 something years after the conversation Sandra is having, which is right in alignment with the conversation that Susan is having. Allow me to gently explain. May I do this? Gently. When people like Sandra say, oh, well, you know what, but that's okay because it all comes back to the Bible. No, it does not come back to the Bible. It comes back to the Egyptian Book of Dead. And you're going to have to eat that, own that, whether you want to or not. The entire Torah is a theft of the Egyptian Book of Dead because Hebraic people and Egyptian people are both Semitic. You have two Semitic groups, they're not the only two, living at the same time. Semitic, between two rivers, Mesopotamia. The Torah comes from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Okay, somebody was saying, I heard a male voice. Who was that male voice? I heard a male voice.
I was going to say that the Egyptian Book of the Dead is a good read too.
It's a good read. So the Egyptian Book of the Dead had the first ethical codes ever recorded by mankind. Diana, if you would please Google, since Grace is off screen, Egyptian Book of the Dead ethical codes, or Google ChatGPT. I don't care. Or Google means search in this particular case. I don't care. I'm just trying to tell you that you have to be careful what you call the Bible, because that's why I asked Sandra a very specific question. What are you calling the Bible? Are you calling the Council of Nicene Creed in 325 AD the Bible? If that's what you're doing, so be it. I submit to you, my queen. You got it. But if you're drawing it back to the Old Testament, then no, I have to now tell you that Semitic people are Egyptian and Hebrew. They're one and the same. Can I tell you how, Grace? I'll tell you how. Because according to the Quran, according to there you go, Code of Hammurabi, just so we're clear, I'm not making this up. This was nearly thousands of years before the Torah ever existed. You can stop the screen. That's enough. That's enough for you to go research and know that I'm not out here drunk and saying stuff. That's not what you know. Now watch this here.
Okay, so you might be drunk,
that's
but you're not just saying stuff because it's your straight up truth.
I
You
didn't
might be
make
drunk though.
history.
You might be drunk though.
I might be drunk. I ain't had a lick of nothing, but if you let me get some, I'll get some. But Jerome, here's what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with Christians, and Christians are not disagreeing with me. That's not the stance I'm taking. That's not the stance I'm taking. I'm not taking either stance. But that's why I asked a very specific question. What are you calling the Bible? If you're calling that when Constantinople had a whole crisis in 312 AD, and he saw a cross in the sky and had a dream, and then said that the cross Christianity, he needed to unite Christianity all in the one thing. And that finally happened in 325 AD, the Council of Nicaea, which was the first time that the church wrote down what it was actually saying, thinking, and preaching. And different there were 7 different criteria in order for a book to be accepted inside the Bible, but there were 3 most notably. Number 1, the date in which it was written. Number 2, you had to have apostolic authorship. And number 3, you had to match current church teachings. Y'all, I don't have these degrees for no reason. Okay, I don't have these degrees. There's just no notes in front of me. Okay, there's no notes in front of me. So if you're calling the Council of Nicaea the Bible, so be it. I have no argument for you, Ina. I'm not even having an argument, but I can't say nothing about that. But if you are taking the full Old Testament, which I don't call it the Old Testament, I call it the Torah because my degrees are in Jewish sensitivity, Jewish covenants, Jewish tradition, Jewish culture, then now I have to tell you that Semitic people weren't just Hebrews. And shame on you for thinking that Jews are the only Semitics to ever exist on the planet. So when we say anti-Semitic, you're also saying anti-Egyptian and a bunch of other Canaanites, Hittites, Satirites. Come on, you're not even Phoenicians. You're not even thinking about what your Old Testament is listing a bunch of names that you just strip over because you can't pronounce them. Those are all Semitic people. So with
Watch
that,
yourself, Reverend.
so with that being said, all Semitic law, the first Semitic ethical code came from the Egyptians, the first world power in the world, the first power to establish religion, the first power to establish an afterlife, the first power to create math, the first power to create astronomy, astrology, you name it. Egyptian culture is so important. It is the only culture on the planet that has white people that have a study after it. I'll rewind and press play. You can crucify me and cancel me later. Egyptian culture is the only culture on the planet that has white people that has a study after it. There's no such thing as a Spanishologist, no such thing as a Italianologist, only an Egyptologist. Egyptology is the only, ology means study of, it is the first Semitic civilization that gave us everything. that created civilization in the first place is guarded by non-Egyptian people, non-Semitic people. That's got nothing to do with me. I didn't create a Nigeriologist, Ghanaologist, Spaniardologist. There's a reason why there's an Egyptologist. You don't have to agree with me. Just turn to the right and look it up. Okay, just so we're clear. Now, let me just back up. I have not said Susan is wrong. She's right. I have not said Sandra's wrong. She's right. I haven't got to how they're right yet. I have not said God does not exist. I would never say God does not exist. I would literally tell you, if you ask me, Antonio, does God exist? I'm going to tell you, I don't know. If you ever ask me, does God exist? I'm going to tell you, I don't know. And then you're going to say, well, why don't you know, Antonio? I'm going to say, because God is either all present or all knowing, or all graceful, all kind. The problem with that is, as I've been talking for the last 30 seconds, a baby who's done nothing wrong has died of cancer. And since my pause that I just spoke, another baby has been molested. So God, in human experience, listen to me very well, has never been all-knowing and all-kind at the same time. But by faith, if we catch it, faith is something that must be caught. This is why you are of the Quran. This is why you are of the Torah. This is why you are of Christianity. Faith is not something that can be reasoned. Faith is something that must be caught. I cannot look at the mountains and say Jesus died for my sins, but I can look at the mountains and say there must be a God. This is why there's a difference between revelation and special revelation. Special revelation is what Sandra is saying. Everything comes back to point number one. That's why Sandra is right. That's not the only reason why she's right. But I just told y'all what Sandra is trying to communicate, because I can hear you and I can communicate what you're trying to communicate. Sandra is saying, Antonio, I don't care about none of that. The special revelation is undeniable. And for that reason, Sandra is right. Because looking at a tornado, I go, man, it's some crazy randomness out here. There's got to be somebody controlling that. But I can't look at a tornado and go, he died for my sins. Jerome, that's not a logical leap. But special revelation, according to Sandra and Susan, now bringing up Susan, that's got to be caught. That's what Susan was trying to say. And then Susan quoted David Jeremiah saying, listen, Antonio, you got to catch this, my man. Susan wasn't trying to be disrespectful to me. Susan was saying, listen, Antonio, there's two kind of things going on here. Thing number one, we see. Thing number two, we catch. Susan, did I misspeak for you? Because I'm not trying to. We know, we catch.
No, I know you study his teachings as well.
I love David Jeremiah. He's one of my favorite scholars. He's in my top 3.
Yeah. You need to meet him.
I sure do. Yeah, he's in my top 3 for sure. Sandra is saying the same thing. Sandra is coming more from Old Testament idea. The earth is the Lord and the fullness of. This is what Sandra is saying. Sandra, get ready to unmute your mic in 1 minute, and probably less than that, and back me up if I'm worthy of backing up. This is what Sandra is saying. Sandra is saying, Antonio, I don't care if you tell me the Big Bang created the world. I don't care if you tell me we came from monkeys. As long as you tell me, Antonio, God did it, I don't give a damn what you telling me. Sandra, would you go ahead and back me up? Sandra, would you?
I just know what he has done in my life, and he brought me right here.
Okay. Okay. So
I
y'all see.
know who you are. That's a lot. That is a lot. You didn't bring me to you.
Okay.
Nobody else brought me to
All
you.
right then. So I want y'all to
The
know
Lord
neither.
directed me, but I mean, I'm just saying.
I need
It's
y'all to
all
know
what you
neither
say
Sandra or Susan is
without written
offended.
words.
Okay. Okay. Neither Sandra or Susan is offended. So if you are,
Antonio,
you tripping. Okay, go ahead, Phil.
doesn't this all come down to interpretation? Because
Absolutely.
correct me if I'm wrong, back then when they wrote, they didn't have any punctuation and they didn't have any capitalization. And you can move a comma in a sentence and change
That's
the
right.
meaning of a sentence. So if they
No
don't have a comma
vowels.
there, it's all back to it's all interpretation.
Absolutely. They had no vowels either. No vowels either. All consonants. All consonants. Vowels did not exist. Vowels did not. Here's what the Egyptian Book of the Dead did. It gave you ethical codes. It gave you ritual purity and practices. It gave you judgment after death. It gave you monotheism and polytheism, which your Old Testament absolutely has. And it gives you a use of narrative or didache. That's a Greek word that means the teachings. Every single thing of the Egyptian Book of Dead is the Torah. Not because now the novice is going to tell you, because the Torah just plagiarized the Book of the Dead. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when you put Mexicans and other Mexicans in Mexico, they gonna have the same beliefs. Let me try it again. When you put a Texan from Houston in Texas, a Texan from Conroe next to each other, y'all don't know what that means. It's pretty close. They're gonna have the same beliefs. Jerome, all I'm trying to tell you is y'all out here believing Republicans that Semitic people were only Jewish. It was a bunch of Semitic people out here. And they listed in your Old Testament. And shame on you. Shame on you for reading those Old Testament names and thinking there weren't Semitic people too. Assyrians. I could go on. Everybody in your Old Testament is a Semitic. Every single name. Antonio, prove it. I'm so glad you asked me. Because if you take yourself to Genesis chapter 5, you will find a genealogy. And that genealogy, Dion, says that Abraham had a few sons. Would you like me to help you out here? Them few sons happened. And then right around the sixth chapter, God told Phil, go and build the ark. Phil was like, what? And Phil was like, I'll build that ark. And in chapter 7, Phil built that ark. And then here's what happened. It was even crazier. Phil built the ark and 8 people survived.
Isn't it Noah?
Noah,
That
number 1. His wife, no name, number 2. And then Japheth, Noah's son, and his wife.
Him?
Shem, Noah's son, and his
And
wife.
Ham.
And Ham, Noah's son, and his wife, leading for 8 people. And Ham, meaning burnt skin, gave birth, or not from his body, to Cush, meaning more burnt skin around this motor scooter. And Cush had a son named Egypt, and all of Egypt was called Africa. And every melanated folk on this planet came from Shem, Japheth, and Ham. And every non-melanated folk on this planet came from Shem, Japheth, and Ham. Why? Because ain't nobody on this planet carbon-based creature without melanin. The most albino of albino people is melanated on this planet. That's how it works. So when Your New Testament, Dion, says Acts chapter 6, you got Stephen, the deacon, and dies. And it says Acts chapter 7, see, Jerome gonna like this part. It says the Ethiopian eunuch, they didn't recognize this man because he was from Ethiopia. Get out of here. Don't nobody with no Ethiopia. Y'all out here telling the Ethiopian eunuch as if there was a damn Ethiopia. With no who created Ethiopia back then? With no boundaries. Ethiopia was a word for all of the African continent. Ethiopia wasn't a country, it was what we called Africa. So it was the clear eunuch who looked like he from Africa. You do know I look like I'm from Africa, huh? You understand there's a difference between me and Tanya. Can you say no, me and Tanya look like twins. But if you put my hair in the water and her hair in the water, one of our hairs ain't gonna get wet. Who know what I'm talking about? Is that too much? Was that offensive? Because my hair ain't getting wet at all. Her hair will. Listen, what has happened? First off, everybody get mad at Deanna. Don't vote for her. She's gonna stay in third place because she started this. Okay, this was Deanna's fault. This is y'all vote for
Oh,
her.
I already voted for it. That's too late
Okay,
now.
yeah, you vote for it.
I
It's
have
too
a
late.
whole lot more, but I'm just keep my mic muted.
No. There's nobody on this call
I'm gonna have
offended.
her back regardless.
No.
Regardless.
There's
That
nobody on this call
pain.
offended. There's not a single person on this call offended, so it's all good. We actually survived this conversation a lot better than the last one. We survived this conversation a lot better than the last one. Nobody's offended. I want you to understand as I go through world history, get ready. I want all those questions. We want all those questions. I want you're gonna be obedient. I want all those questions. Okay. All right. Now, I want you to understand that world history told Susan, shut up and take care of them kids. World history told Susan, burn your bra. We are victims of our history in which we're born. So we read the Bible through hypermodernity eyes, which brings us now full circle now. When I tell you that determinism is what you believe in, whether you want to or not, you don't get to disagree with that because you afterlife. But then when you go, but make your free will too, that's because you're born in hypermodernity. You can't have anybody tell you what the blank to think. Hypermodernity means you don't have to tell me what to do. If I tell Damali right now, be a good wife, your husband love you, don't tell me what to do. She already told herself to be a good husband, be a good wife. Her husband loves her. But the sister fact that you said it, I got her messed up. That's where we live. And why do we live there? I was trying to bring it to you because what we've done, and I swear to God, me and Dr. Ferris covered this. This is what we've done. What Sandra and Susan were saying the right thing. Jerome, you about to like this. Sandra and Susan were trying to tell Antonio, bump all that Antonio, special revelation first. Antonio, you say what you want. Special revelation first. What special revelation? Jesus. What's Jesus? Something up there off screen came and showed us how to live, what to do. And everybody hates when Sandra and Susan say that. Not because you want to, it's because when Sandra says, somebody taught us how to live, they say, go read a book. When Susan says, someone taught us how to live, shut up, Susan. You know better. So they can't win. But here's how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to work. Special revelation is number 5. Can y'all get that? Special revelation is number 5. Now we got 4 that matter, Susan. 4 that matter, Susan. Number 4 is supposed to be So we're going to say 4 is the highest. So 4 is the highest, 1 is the least. Can we do that? Special revelation is number 5. Number 4 is revelation. Because without Jesus, Sandra and Susan are saying, you ain't got no damn revelation, Antonio. They're not going to cuss. But I'm going to give it to you, though. This is what they're saying. Susan and Sandra are saying, man, you can't even think without Jesus. What you talking about? Antonio, all them little fancy words you put together, that's because he died on the cross. So you can go ahead and do whatever you're going to do. But you getting it because you tapping into him. Careful for you tap in the wrong way. You will get punished. This is what Sandra and Susan are saying. That should be respected. That's number 5. Number 4 is revelation. So Susan and Sandra are saying the only reason I can tap in to knowledge so high off the screen, there you go, Dion. It's because I got tapped into that revelation. Jerome likes that. Dion likes that. Susan likes that. Susan just stood up for it. Quoted David Jeremiah. Sandra likes that. And nobody here should be offended. Now, 3 goes like this. Now, 3, 2, and 1, it don't matter. It goes, write this down for me down in the chat. Revelation, logic, reasoning, experience. Revelation 4, logic 3, reasoning, experience 1. Revelation 4, logic 3. I had to go to school for 2 semesters just to get this, y'all. Revelation 4, well, special revelation 5. Revelation 4, logic 3, reasoning 2, experience 1. Now, what I'm trying to tell Sandra and Susan is 1, 2, and 3 don't matter the order. Because if you fool around and F up number 4, if you put 1, 2, and 3 over 4, this is why we got a problem. It's what Sandra and Susan is going to say. Hold on before you ask your question. Before you ask your question. Number 4 is reasoning. Reasoning is I'm close to Jesus. This is why Jerome go to church. Excuse me, not reasoning. Revelation. I'm close to Jesus. This is why Jerome go to church. Number 3 is logic. Number 2 is reasoning. Number 1 is experience. And this is what Sandra and Susan were trying to say. Antonio, don't you put that experience way up there at number 4. Get that out of here. Your experience should never replace God. Come on, Susan, help me out. Come on, Sandra, help me out. Your experience, I don't care if he was a black man, Antonio. That's not what they say. I'm just put this emotion on it. I don't care if you've been hurt. I don't care if the church hurt you. Your experience should not outweigh Jesus. Come on, help me, Jerome. Come on, help me. No. Come on, help me, Jerome.
But you can't have one without the other. Because my experience, regardless of what is happening, regardless.
So for you, it's special revelation experience. She has experience over logic. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying she's not putting experience over reasoning. This is what Sandra gets upset about. This is what Susan gets upset about. When someone tries to think past Jesus. Come on, Susan. When someone tries to think their salvation past what Jesus did on the cross. Come on, Susan. I understand what's being said.
Mine is when people say that Antonio T. Smith Jr. doesn't really matter. And what he's saying is all wrong. And I truly am against everything he say. And I get bothered. Anything else that has to do with the community that God has brought me to, which is why I say it doesn't matter what people are saying.
Fair enough.
I know what's happening. When I came in here, I said, I know exactly who you are.
You
Antonio T. Smith Jr., did I not?
You did. You called me Moses, for those who don't know.
Right. And in the better end, because you ain't striking no rock without God telling you to strike it. And
No, I got obedience.
You're not adding no ins and outs to it.
No.
You see what I'm saying?
No, I'm
So
the Moses that went in.
whatever is being said, it can never go for Sandra, for me, because I've stood on the ground while he caused the clouds to move past me on the ground.
Fair
So
enough. This is what Jerome would tell them, Sandra. Look at my man Harvest. And so we just need to be quiet. This is what Jerome would say that. You understand? This is what Jerome would say that. This is what Jerome said right there. Listen, I'm not, under no circumstances, am I telling you that your belief is wrong. What I said here on this call, I have honored every Muslim, every Christian, every Jew. I really have. I have yet to say anything. And if you don't believe in that, I've honored those who believe in the ancestors. What I'm trying to tell you is, if you believe in any of those things, you also believe in determinism. Because
Antonio,
you believe a
Antonio,
cause and effect. Yes, sir.
you see that you don't pull me out now, okay? All right. So I gotta say what I gotta
Well,
say
I
right
just
now.
wanted to defend Philly. I mean, I just wanted to defend Susan and Sandra. I wanted to defend them. They didn't need it, but I still wanted to do it.
And that's fine. What's interesting about where this conversation went to reminds me when I was in New York working with those kids. And they asked me to take over their religious time. They said, sorry, we want you to do our religious time. And I said to them, you need to talk to the leadership of this organization, because if I go to them and says the kids asked me to do the religious time, they're going to accuse me of trying to get out of work. So I'm not going to do that. So the kids did, and they said, yes, he can do it. And then they gave me all the rules I had to follow in order to do it. I'm sitting in the classroom with these kids for their religious time. I'm a born again believer. I'm a Christian. I read the King James Version and all that other stuff like that. But these kids asked me to be in charge of their religious time. So in that regard, I'm supposed to honor God, but wait a minute, they the one that asked me. Shouldn't I be considerate of them? Absolutely, because they asked for me. But as I came in that room, I said to the guys, I says, you see this here? I says, this is a lesson plan. Every Sunday I come here, I will have a lesson plan. But I'm a Christian. I'm a born again believer. I believe in the word of God. And I picked my Bible up and I says, this is, to me, this is God's word. The lesson plan is optional. For me, the word of God is never optional. But as we do our religious time, we need to respect differences. And I made and I had my revelation right then and there. And I said to them, if this person is a Muslim, then we need to respect that. If he's a Buddhist, we need to respect that. If he's Nirvana, we need to respect differences. Why? Because most of us believe what we believe, not because of what we know, but because of what we've been told. Everything that I believe in, everything is because of what I was told. That's where my faith came from. And that's where all that stuff came from. But that's what I was told. Well, guess what? I wasn't back there 2,000 years ago when Jesus walked this earth. And I wasn't back there when the Torah was written. I wasn't back there. I'm taking everything that's been brought forward and accepting it by faith. And now you're going to come with something different and I'm going to spit in your face, Antonio? I bet you I will not, sir. Because guess what? You may have some information that I don't have. Now, when I ran into your ass, Mr. Smith, I learned this about you. You had information that I did not. As a matter of fact, you had information about information that I had, and I was totally wrong. You told me that I've been lied to, and I'm like, excuse me? Yeah, you've been lied to. And I'm sitting there going, and then I say, he's right, I've been lied to. So you revealed things to me that I thought I knew that I didn't know. Well, guess what? If I didn't know that, and I'm older than you, I got you, you're old enough to be my son, and I said, then maybe there's some other stuff he got that I need to listen to. So guess what, Mr. Smith? Instead of me judging what you got to say, I need to listen to what you got to say, because what the hell you got to say might bless me and benefit me. Hello? That's why I'm here, and that's why I want to hear what you got to say, because if I don't agree with it, I'm going to tell you I don't agree with it, but I need to hear what you, because you know some information I don't know. I'm done.
Amen. Amen.
You're muted, sir.
the good thing is everybody was on their best behavior today. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Jerome, you're 100% correct. I will go back to what something Susan said, because I said I will address it. And Jerome was like, nah, but I am now. When we say every knee shall bow and everybody's going to hear Christ, that's a dangerous thing to say. This is not what Susan was saying. Susan understood what I'm about to tell you. Susan understood it was a ongoing event. The way Susan said it was, the journey is still going. The way most people say it is, and it's being rejected. Can we? That's not Susan. You're right. I'm not saying that's what you said. I'm trying to be clear about that. That I'm saying Susan did not say that. But when we say, well, God said the word will go out to everybody. So if you don't have it, then you making bad decisions. That's what we say. Come on now. Come on. Susan's not saying that. If you agree that you grew up on planet Earth and that is what people said, would you please just back me up for just someone who's not sleeping with me, please? Would you back me up, please? Would you back me up? Yes,
I was born on planet Earth.
All right. So now we got a couple of head nods. Thank you, Deanna. Watch this
Antonio,
here. Yes, ma'am.
I was thinking of people in countries where
That's
women
Susan.
are oppressed. They don't have a say.
It's on
They
the screen, Susan.
the
It's on the
religion.
screen. It's on the
Yeah.
screen, Susan. It's
Oh,
on the screen. I got your back. I got your back. I understood what you were saying. I got your back. Susan was saying, as of recent data, 7,000 languages are spoken around the world, and about 700 languages do not have that. 1,500 languages do not have the Bible. Now watch this here. Of that, I said, and I told Chad, give me more mathematics, because I already know this, because I'm a missionary. Out of 7,000 languages, full Bible, 700 languages. Rewind, press play. Out of 7,000 languages spoken globally, 6,700 do not have the Bible, with our arrogant selves. Shame on you. Shame on you for thinking that people are rejecting Christ. Shame on you. It ain't even in their tongue. Shame on you for thinking in 2000 every day I pray, Jesus need to come back. For what? Come back for what? We ain't even reached the uttermost parts of the earth. 6,300 people, languages, culture groups do not have the Bible in their tongue. I'm not telling you to believe in the Bible. I'm just trying to tell you, if you believe in the Bible, you are out of line. This is what Susan was trying to communicate. So I got you today. So if you're one of those people going, well, these people just making bad decisions, I think you should understand something. It gets a little confusing now, Ina, because that's a lot of people dying without hearing Christ. That's a lot. And before Christ existed, that was a lot of people dying without hearing Christ. That's a lot. So either your God is an a-hole, or you ain't like that, or your God ain't done yet, and you need to have some grace. See, most people gonna focus on me saying your God's a-hole instead of you're the a-hole. Instead of that part. They're not gonna like that. See, I just proved mathematically what Susan. I said, remember I said, I'm just trying to defend Sandra. I'm just trying to defend Susan. Susan was not saying, well, these stupid libtards are not. That's not what she was saying. That's what one of them news bubbles is saying. Susan was saying that it's oppressed people, blah, 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 whatever. Jerome, 6,300 people group don't have the Bible in their language. Seems to be you got work to do.
Hello.
Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. I see. I knew who to talk to when I said that, Grace. I knew who would understand. But I'm putting the blame on Jerome. You got work to do.
And
6,000.
and look, guess what else? I ain't got time to be arguing with you, Mr. Smith. I see you. Catch you later.
You got 6,300 people groups to get out there. Y'all hear? Do you understand? 6,000. That is a super cute baby. 6,300 people groups. Don't you get no baby fever now? All right. You get no baby fever. You get that. You let Susan get that. Don't you get it?
We
You
ain't
get that
having
at
no
all.
kind of fevers over here. We
All
stay
right. Good then.
I like
You
the
let
ones
that
you give that.
let that go to Ebony. Ebony get that baby fever. As for you in this
Have
house,
it. She could have it. We got
you know what? Damali got about
Ah,
6 more up in it. Damali got about 6 more up in it.
don't do that to Damali. Don't do that to Damali. Don't do that.
Say no. She got 6 more million up in it, is what she say. I got 6 more million. There you go.
Dollars.
That's permanently shut down.
I know that's right. I know that's
That
right.
little manacle baby, that little what you call it? Mechanical baby ain't coming in your house either, is it,
Nah,
Damali?
ain't no mechanical babies. All right. I want to prove what Susan was saying. Is that okay? Is this okay? If you're a Christian, I want to prove the rest of what Susan was saying. You're not gonna like what I'm about to do. You know why you're not gonna like what I'm about to do? Because it's going to be kind and in your text. But you know why you don't like that? Because you don't like your text. You love God so much. Excuse me. You love the text so much, you hate God. Will somebody please tweet me, please? Will somebody please tweet me? You love your Bible so much, you hate God. Will someone please tweet me? Please. Because last time I checked, Susan, that's what your Jesus was walking around saying the whole 3 years he was walking around doing gospel stuff. That you are here so legalistically that you don't even have God's heart. Can I push it, Jerome? All right. The first thing Grace, I need you to come back, Grace. I need you to come back. I can't do it. If Grace don't come back, I can't do it. Don't worry about it.
Okay, can I just say this while you in that space?
Yep, but I hope
You
Grace
know,
don't come back because I'll move on. Oh, she done came back, y'all. Lord have mercy. All right, go ahead, Sandra.
this is why Jesus.
I'm about to mess your heads up, though. I'm
David
about to mess your heads up.
He said, I'm here and y'all don't even know that I'm here.
That's John chapter. Well, it's a lot of places, but I'm gonna go ahead and go with John chapter 1. The prologue is what we call it, 1 through 19. I'm gonna go ahead and go there. It literally says, and the people he came knew him not, is what King James said.
Come on now.
Jerome, am I lying, Jerome? Am I lying? Okay, Jerome gave me 2 thumbs up. Siskel and Ebert. 2 thumbs up, depending on how old you are. You understand that reference I just gave. Depending on how old you are. You understand? Yeah. Some of y'all don't know about that Siskel and Ebert. Yeah, you're too young.
You watch it. You watch it, sir.
If it was 2 thumbs up, Siskel and Ebert, we went to go see Denzel. You hear me? We went to go see that movie. We went to go see that anyway. All right. Grace, do I have permission to go ESV or well, I need. So some Bibles are translations, some are paraphrases. A paraphrase is not an accurate translation because it's a paraphrase. Can we keep I forgot to get back to today's. Can we keep that? Can we have that understanding? So I would give you an option. I would go to an accurate translation or I would go to a fun paraphrase. Choose ye this day. Which one do you want me to go to? Fun paraphrase or accurate translation? 3.
Fun paraphrase.
You want the fun paraphrase?
Yeah, so I can understand. Yeah.
Message version then, Grace. We're gonna go to message version. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to message version. Trace, come on in, Trace. Grace, be ready to switch back and forth between message version and ESV. So just pull up 2 tabs. Message version 1, ESV 1. Go to Romans chapter 2, ESV, Romans chapter 2, message version. Go ahead, Trinace.
Okay, so obviously I'm not home. I got in the house, realized my dog didn't have no food, and I was not cooking eggs for him
But
tonight for
did you
dinner.
cook for us? But did you cook for us?
No.
Shame on you. That's all right, though. That's all right.
So I hate that I missed last week. Thank you, Tornado. But I don't think the religious stuff really offends me, but because I wasn't raised in the church. So I think my understanding, and I'm not saying I'm better than church people, because that's what one of my friends said. You act like you better than us. You church people too. Okay, well, whatever. That's your argument. I don't think this really offends me at any level, because I think I kind of think about the Bible logically, which actually offends people, because all of this makes sense to me. All of this makes sense to me.
So what we were talking about last week was free will and determinism, and I showed everybody, much to my sacrifice, my spears, that y'all don't have free will, and you didn't like that.
I was
So
a
we don't-
part of that. I was a part of the video.
Okay,
I was a
yes,
part of you breaking the video
yes,
down. I was like, well, damn,
yes, and we
damn.
don't,
So
yeah,
I was a part of that before, you know.
and we don't make free will. And what started this was Deanna. Deanna started today. It's really her fault, and she still got more questions, and we may go over time, but it's really her fault. But because I told her to be obedient, it's really her fault.
I think
Determinism says, yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I think you may need a whole nother class for my question.
Fair enough. We'll try to get at least one. We'll try to get at least one.
Okay.
You said we need some pillow time for her question. Let's get to yeah. I got
my
you.
brain is doing some stuff and my soul is doing some stuff. So I'm gonna need a whole nother class.
And that's the difference between me and Chef Jay. It's the difference between me and Deanna. Like I told y'all last week, I ain't like nothing I said. That don't mean I'm at odds with what I said. I'm perfectly okay with I don't have my free will. Although part of me is like, you got me, that brain got my free will. I understand that too. You understand I stand on business. At the same time, I understand that cause and effect. Now, I told y'all I have an answer for this last week that I'm not going to tell y'all. And if I did tell y'all, it would mess y'all heads up. I got 6 more weeks for you ready before you know what I think about free will. But I did hit at Damali. Free will's like Jonah, but we'll come back to that later. Let me say this here. If you no, not that way. Romans chapter 2, Grace. Let me skip. I was gonna give my closing thoughts, so let me not do that. Romans chapter 2. And if you can go down like verse 4, Jerome loves this verse. He's not going to recognize it because it's a message version. He's going to recognize it in King James. And it says, you didn't think, did you? Just by pointing your finger at others that you would distract God from seeing all the misdoings that you're doing. Or did you think that he's such a nice God, he let you off the hook? Better think this is one through the beginning. God is kind, but he's not soft with your little broke blank. If kindness, he takes us firmly by the hand and leads us. You're not getting by with anything. Every refusal, every avoidance, God adds fuel to the fire by the days, blah, blah, blah. So I'll stop right here. You can stop right there, Grace. Oh, pull up King James too. Pull up King James too, Grace, and give me 3 of them. This is what that said, Jerome, in regular English. If you live by the law, you'll die by the law. Okay, there you go. Right. Those who don't live by the law won't die by the law. That's that. All right. Because some of y'all got King James memorized. Tracy asks, how can we have free will if we get punished for not? Tracy, Tracy ought to come to this thing and high five you. How can you have free will if you get punished for doing the right? Tracy, unmute your mic and say what you got to say, Great. Say what you got to say, Tracy.
Well, I wasn't on last week because of the same situation. So
Yep.
I've been confused this whole time on because I've been confused at what the whole point was. So I just been listening, trying. I said, Lord, please tell me where I fit in with this.
Yeah.
So what I'm understanding is that there was some type of debate, or some people were maybe challenged with the fact of the free will aspect. And so just based on my thoughts and kind of what you were kind of saying just now, like free will in my thoughts is not necessarily there. That it says you have
You breaking up on us, Tracy.
Really.
Hold on, you breaking us up.
Because when you're not obedient to what you're supposed to do, you don't receive. I'm breaking up.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Am I breaking up still?
Just a little bit. Hold on. Let me rewind, everybody.
Crash Course Philosophy is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace, share your passion with the world.
Let's say, for the sake of argument, that you love your father, by which I mean you want him to be alive. And let's also assume that you don't have any attachments to your mother that you might describe as romantic. Well, guess who thought he felt the same way about his parents? Oedipus. According to ancient Greek legend, when Oedipus was born, a prophecy foretold that he would kill his father and marry his mother. So, in an act of colossally bad decision-making, his father left baby Oedipus in the wilderness, assuming he would die, and the prophecy would then not come true. But instead, the abandoned baby was discovered and raised by another family. As an adult, Oedipus learned of the prophecy that he would kill his father and marry his mother. So, not knowing he was adopted, he left his adoptive parents in order to avoid fulfilling that prophecy, figuring that if he wasn't near them, it couldn't come true. Lo and behold, as he was trying to flee his fate, Oedipus killed a stranger in a fit of rage who turned out to be the father he had never met. He then proceeded to marry the dead man's widow, who was actually his mother, though he didn't know it. Needless to say, this is a fate that any of us would like to avoid. But for philosophers, the whole point of the story of Oedipus is there is no escaping fate. Are we free? I mean, on the one hand, most of us have the clear sense that we are. We feel free. We feel like we make all sorts of decisions that lead to both beliefs and actions that are wholly of our own choosing, like I could do that. I had oatmeal this morning because I felt like it. This view that humans are capable of entirely free actions is known as libertarian free will. And to be clear, libertarian free will is nothing like political libertarianism. Both views get their name from the word liberty, but political libertarians are all about freedom from government intervention, while people who accept libertarian free will could be anything from political libertarians to socialists. They just think that metaphysically we can act freely. So a lot of us figure that our thoughts and actions are free, but most of us also believe that every effect has a cause and that everything that happens now in the present is the necessary result of events that occurred in the past. This view is known as hard determinism, and many of the people watching this probably think that they believe in both things, that many of your actions are free and that the world is governed by cause and effect. But it turns out you can't rationally hold both views, because traditionally libertarians have defined free actions according to what's known as the principle of alternate possibilities. That might sound like a plot device for a sci-fi show, but this principle says that an action is free only if the agent, that is the person doing the thing, could have done otherwise. So truly free actions require options. Determinism, by contrast, doesn't allow options. It holds that every event is caused by a previous event, which means that an agent can never have done anything other than what they did, and therefore they are never free. But let's look at these two options more closely, and also let's look at my breakfast. Libertarianism says that my decision to eat oatmeal this morning wasn't necessarily caused by anything that happened before it. Instead, it could have been the result of non-physical events, specifically my own thoughts that originated right at that point. I ate oatmeal because I decided to eat oatmeal. End of story. But libertarianism runs counter to what we know about the workings of the physical world, with one thing causing another. So libertarians need a way to account for their view. One way they do that is by making a distinction between what's known as event causation and agent causation. Event causation means that that no physical event can occur without having been caused by a previous physical event. So many libertarians concede that the physical world itself is deterministic, like a baseball is flying through the air because someone hit that ball with a bat. But many libertarians also argue that there's such a thing as agent causation, which says that an agent, a being propelled by a mind, can start a whole chain of causality that wasn't caused by anything else. So the person who hit the ball most likely did so because they just decided to do it. By this logic, agents have the ability to affect the causal chain of the universe. They can make stuff happen on their own. But many philosophers find this idea untenable. Where would these free decisions, the ones that launch entirely new causal chains, come from, they ask? Are they simply random? What would compel an agent to make one decision and not another? And if you can answer those questions, if you can explain what would cause an agent to act, then, well, you've just reinforced the position that actions are caused rather than free. The fact is, it's pretty difficult to find arguments that support libertarian free will. The best argument in favor of it seems to be that it just feels an awful lot like we're free. And libertarians argue that we shouldn't discount the legitimacy of our own personal subjective experiences. So if we feel so free, we should seriously consider the possibility that we are. That point has a certain intuitive appeal, but if you can't come up with an argument to defend your feeling, then good philosophical reasoning recommends that you reject it, or at least withhold judgment until you can get some evidence together. So now, let's see if the hard determinists can do any better. 18th century French philosopher Baron d'Holbach said that none of our actions are actually free. D'Holbach believed that everything that's happening right now is the result of an unbroken chain of events. Everything, he said, is the inevitable result of what came before, including everything that we do. Our actions are caused in the same way that, say, home runs are caused by bats hitting balls, or tornadoes are caused by warm air systems hitting cool air systems in the right conditions. This means that humans and our actions are just part of the physical world, bound by its physical laws. This belief is often explained through a view known as reductionism. Reductionism is the view that all parts of the world and of our own experience can be traced back or reduced down to one singular thing. So, for example, you see your mind as being capable of making free decisions. You think that what goes on in your head when you make a choice is not at all like bats and balls. But, well, mental states are brain states, or at least they're directly tied to your brain, and brain states are biological. And biological states are physical states. And the physical world, as we already said, is deterministic. There's just no room for free will in this picture. We think we're free, but we're not. And really, as scientific thinkers, why would we assume that we are? Why would we think that we're any different than everything else in the universe? What would make us so special? Libertarians are right that it's really hard to disregard the feeling.
All right, there's more. I see I'm going to play that every time that we come back. I see that for sure. For some of you on the miss. That's in the last class period. I played 4 different videos. The Matrix. I had Neil Tyson deGrasse talking about free will, and it was with another astrophysicist. It was a bunch of stuff. The concept here is so some of you are going to go, well, I do have free will. But the deal is heaven or hell, right? Did you choose those 2 things? No, you didn't choose those 2 things. So you're choosing in a deterministic system. So are you choosing? See, now I got you. So someone says, well, I don't believe in heaven and hell. Okay, well, you're making sacrifices, right? You are worshiping the ancestors as you rightfully should. So can you get it yourself, or do you need a higher power, a higher consciousness to get it yourself? And now you're back into a series of determinism. No matter what, no matter if you say I believe or I don't believe, you fall back into determinism. And then you say, well, no, the hell I don't, Antonio. Screw you, buddy. Screw you, buddy. And I'm not using this finger. I'm using the other finger. I'm just keeping it, Dion rated. Screw you, buddy. All right, saying it's the other finger. Well, here's the deal, Damali. Did you pick that shirt, or did someone pick it for you out of the spring catalog? Did Damali pick Texas, or did someone pick it for us? Does Texas even exist? Or is that something that was drawn over a map when we stole it from Mexico in a war? That's a real thing, unless you don't like history. I'm sorry, I guess you don't. There goes that history again, Phil, that just keeps getting in the way. There goes that history again. It keeps getting... Texas is not Texas. Texas, strong T, Tejas, no breath on the T. Tejas. It just is what it is. Okay.
Just like they trick us with the Alamo.
Just same way they trick us with the Alamo. Alamo is always a good story when you're reading it from the person who won. But I can assure you, it's not a good story in Mexico, nor is the American Revolution a good story in England. it's, it's taught different ways. We are the dissenters in England. So we've got to ask ourselves, does Jerome have a beard because he chose, or did his DNA unlock? Ladies, do you have large breasts or small breasts because you chose them, or did your DNA just unlock it? Men, do you have hair loss because you chose to have it, or did your DNA unlock it? Say what you want. Most of the things on this planet, you did not choose. And I know you like Trinace and you think you got that hot fire, that macaroni in the pot. But even your mama gave you that.
Hold on, I don't mean to throw you off, bro.
That's too much. I
I'm just
can't.
I don't
saying.
mean to throw you off. Look, right. So, what about when you were saying that we
I'm coming back to
already
that,
choose,
Tracy.
that we already choose, like we already choose our path already? So, is by us choosing our path, is we choosing our form too?
That's a little bit closer to what I actually think and know about free will that I'm holding to week 8. But if you keep asking questions like that, you're gonna make me give it a lot earlier. That's a little bit closer. Between you and Damali, I expected one of y'all to say some dumb stuff like that. That's gonna make me, and by dumb I mean smart. Okay, I sent Deanna a TikTok video that said black slang is really white slang in reverse. It's so awesome.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's so cool. Man, that's hot.
Pull it up, Deanna. Show your side. Let me know when you're right. I sent it to. It's so funny. It is Phil. It is the funniest thing. It's just so funny. It's so funny. Tracy said, "Well, we can choose to get our breasts augmented." She didn't say that, but that's what she's saying. But are you really choosing? Are you choosing the pressure of having to get your breasts augmented? Who chose big? Who chose small? Who chose silicone? Who chose to practice? Was it there? Watch this here. And watch, here's what's crazy. Is Tracy right? She can choose that in 2024? Yes. Could she choose it in 1404? No. Half the stuff y'all think is free will only happens because we got science for it today. It's not free will just because I can do it today. If I asked you right now, a long time ago, Deanna was like, I told Deanna, I don't give a damn about no red lights. I swear to God, Grace, you remember that story? As best as you can, Grace, tell the story. As best as you can. Don't worry.
Either
You ain't gotta be
you were
accurate. I'll
driving.
fill in the
You were
holes.
driving.
I was driving.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, Deanna was driving.
I was driving.
And
or somebody was driving. No matter who's driving.
You had to be driving if you said this, because he ran a red light, and Deanna was like, what you doing running red lights, man? Get tickets and stuff like that. He was like, I don't care about red lights. The lights are for when there is traffic. There's no traffic because it was early o'clock in the morning. I'm like, man, there's no traffic. Something was there. I was like, oh.
See, this is between me and y'all. That's no red light is for traffic. Ain't no traffic. I'm running right through that red light. So then she was like, well, what about if it was a cop right there? Well, then I'll stop. Well, see, you ain't really you thinking it. No. Because the cop is now traffic. And I don't want the consequences of being a free thinker in front of traffic.
Yeah, I treat red lights like stop signs when there's no traffic.
There you go. Right. So, okay, let's check this out. So you can hear in my mindset already, I understand that in 1700 filled with no red lights. So now you fit to give me a ticket on something we just made up 20 years ago? Get out of here. I'm not going to go through that. Red lights been around 40 years. Y'all think they've been around forever. You see, I'm going too fast. I'm hitting them corners too fast, Grace. Y'all, we just stole red lights from Germany in World War One with World War II, excuse me, with the Autobahn, 1941. We just stole this stuff from Germany. You got it, Deanna? We just stole this. Listen, this is what I'm trying to tell you. When consequences to choices, which minimize your choice, take away free will, that's determinism. No matter what you say, consequences become determinism because that's cause and effect.
Got it.
Okay, you pull it up. That's if you're going to say the idea of free will means I could do what I want without consequences. Okay, y'all watch this here for a little happiness, and then I'll close this out. No, you go ahead. Make sure you share your side.
Yeah, that's there we go.
Listen, if Chef J can make a choice and there's no consequences, then she got free will. So we're gonna get there. Go ahead, go ahead down. Hit play.
I'm done. Wow, she looks really good. She looked bad. That's cool. That's hot. That was real smooth. That was tough. Let's roll. Let's bounce.
Oh, heavens no. Oh, hell no. You want a piece?
Okay, that one got me fucked up.
Piece of me? You don't want none of this. That was genius. That was crazy.
Okay,
what the fuck, man?
That's so funny. That is so funny. That is so funny. All right, that's so funny. Anyway, exactly. That's why there's no real free will. It's kind of hard to believe in God and believe in free will. I'm not telling you there's no free will. I'm not telling you there's no determinism. I'm just having the conversation as a scholar, effing y'all heads up. And I told Damali last week in the middle of a tornado in Houston that you're not coming out this 8-week conversation unscathed. And you will not come out this conversation smarter. And then Ebony said, we don't need another one. This is it. This is 1 week. And that's what it was. All right. Let's simplify it because I don't want to go too over time. Grayson, let me go 15 minutes over, but I don't plan on going 15 minutes over. I want to simplify this for you all. I can give you, and right here, just so we're clear, this is Antonio's free will discussion. I have not updated it since May 12, 2004. 2024. Have y'all seen it? Can you see it? I can give you casual determinism and quantum mechanics expanded, and I can give you this, I can give you this, I can give you this, I can give you the compatibilism, the philosophical, ethical considerations, the neuroscience of free will, and expanded analysis. This is in my esoteric folder under my thoughts. I can give you the neuroplasticity of the decision making, and I can go on and on. This is why I told you it was 8 weeks, because I already put it together. Of course, Ebony, I would never give you that nerd talk because that's how I think on a regular basis. I would absolutely bring it down. But I do want you to know, just one more time for the hood, that I got a script here. And it's a doozy, Grace. Look at this. Look at this confusing words, Grace. It's a lot. You hear me? It's a lot. Sociological and psychological considerations of free wills, sociological determinism. Does anybody know what I just said? No, I've got it. Because when I think like I'm writing a doctoral thesis. Just know we covered the first 2 sections in plain English. Is that okay? Can we do that? Can we do that? All right. So let me give you this summation, this close. Ina has kids. Chef J has kid. y'all have children. Some of y'all do not. Some of y'all have parents. And right now, as you're listening to me, and I need you to hear this, nieces and nephews, y'all are all saying you want to be something. But if I put you in 1500, that something wouldn't exist. I'll push it further. If I put you back when Phil was growing up and Jerome was growing up, what you want to be today didn't even exist. I'll push it further. The last 10 years, nearly everything you want to do and accomplish didn't even exist. We got people right now swearing up and down they want to be social media marketers. That just happened. That's not free will. That's a dude named Will inventing it. That's not free will. It's not free will. There is something about free will that if I tell Ina, yeah, go ahead and choose it. But if I change one fact and you would have never chose it, that's not free will. You're in a system. And why have I brought this up? And I said it in the first week, and I'm going to say it again. It's because I need you to get it's determining your law of attraction. I need you to get that Tracy's belief level is sitting in determinism. And she better choose a different system of determinism. And Phil remembers it, Susan remembers it, and I said this. Napoleon Hill lays out 2 systems of determinism. Road to riches, road to poverty. Choose ye this day. I can't tell you that Napoleon Hill was right, because I also said last week, Grace, ain't nobody right when you look at infinity and go, yeah, that's it. No, that's one angle of that's it. Infinity is too big for Antonio to explain. And don't get mad at me because I can't explain infinity. But what you should respect is that you can pick your favorite PhD. You could pick your favorite quantum physicist. I'd go toe-to-toe with them right now. Easy. Because I was supposed to get my PhD 10 years ago. Now I'm back at being a PhD student, which I still don't. And I don't even want to be a PhD student. That's total determinism right now. I don't even want to. I don't even want to get my PhD. I don't even have no plans for my PhD, but to travel to Croatia and drink Croatian beer. That's like the number one thing I want to do. That's about it. Anyway, shout out to Dr. Ferris. He's in Croatia right now. Tracy, this is what I'm saying. I got it in. All your prayers have been determined by somebody else. You don't have to believe me, but that's why we're here. And the first thing I said, Tanya, last class period was, Jeff Bezos ain't praying like you. You say what you want. You say what you want.
Did you look at that link that I sent you today in Line app?
I sure did not. What was it? Share it on the screen. Because it sounds like it's relevant for the class. Share it on the screen.
Hold on. Keep
Yeah,
going.
share it on the screen. Share it loud too. Listen. The time that I just said share it on the screen and I laughed, what was that? 35 seconds? Jeff Bezos made $1 million something dollars. See, y'all gonna hear this. The reason you can't get a man is because determinism. Because you and your mama's determinism. Most children born on this planet become adults who never do better than their parents. And if you be honest with yourself, we all living lives not better than our parents. Push play, Grace. Push it loud too.
So many people waste a lot of time with this so-called religious praying by trying to convince a God in the sky to do something for them or to give them something. Prayer is a positive mental transaction within your own mind. Prayer is a positive mental transaction within your own mind. And so as such, prayer is not even a religious exercise. Prayer is what you say to yourself within yourself. And to put it in the first person again, because I want you to be able to use this message. Prayer is what I say about myself within myself. In the Gospels, there is this lady who had an issue of blood.
They're not ready for this.
For 12 years, and who had tried all kinds of remedies.
Better not.
And good physicians, but
worse.
Nothing helped her. And finally, Jesus came to town to conduct a meeting. She had heard about him. How many people had been blessed and helped and healed through the ministry of Jesus? And the words of the scripture, which I just read, tell us that she said within herself, if I may but touch his clothes, I shall be made whole. And I want to point out something to you good Bible people that perhaps you've never noticed before. Notice where this woman's prayer was said. Notice where this woman's prayer took place. This woman did not address her prayer to a God in the sky. But the scripture says what? She said within herself, if I may but touch his clothes, I shall be made whole. And so I want to suggest to you a new way of prayer. When you pray, you are really talking to yourself. You are talking to your own mind. You are convincing yourself of the good which you desire. And here again, you know, when you pray, you have no one to convince but yourself.
I would have stopped it right there. Stop it, Grace.
Send that to me, please.
Stop it, Grace. Stop it, Grace. That was too much. You cannot take the same reaction them folk had in that crowd, the same reaction y'all got to me. They should have been flipping over them pews because prayer is part of the solution. But the way y'all pray is God got to get past so much negativity just to hear your prayer. And then by the time God do hear your prayer, if it's nevertheless, God, if it's in your will, now, well, I ain't gonna do it then. They didn't like that. I swear to God, I ain't going over 8:15. I promise you I'm not. At least my time. I promise you I'm not.
Okay, so can I say something? Can I say something?
You
Can I
better,
say
because I
something?
ain't going over. I'm cutting off. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so what I want to say is to the people who have been churched, traditions hold us hostage. And the way that you ended that is a way that I've heard prayers ended like a bunch of times, which never really made any sense to me. What you mean if he feel like it? I just never did. I'm gonna ask him to do something and then say, but if you feel like it, you know, I'm content with whatever you do. I never did understand that. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. I'm glad because there's not a scripture in the Bible that says make sure you say if God feel like it. Nope. There's only one person in the Bible that you can make an argument that had no choice, and he died for everybody. That's a whole different cross, Jerome. That's a whole different cross. That's not you.
Watch yourself. Oh my
Did I
goodness.
make your Bible make sense?
Right. He's the only one who
he's the
said
only
that.
one. The only one.
I'm glad I just made y'all
We
Bible
have
make sense to
been
y'all.
boozled and hoodwinked and lied to.
I'm sorry,
Wow.
Dion. Did you come here to die for the whole world? Well, then that ain't your
I
doggone
saw the
prayer.
hell didn't.
Right? No.
Oh, what?
No, Jerome, that made sense. I'm glad Grace and Dana had this reaction. That made sense. Only one, this the only argument you can say, well, Jesus had the same, the Lord take this cup from me. Never mind. Nevertheless, not my will, but your will. Yeah, that's a whole different. Jerome, did you carry his cross? Well, then you shouldn't make his prayer.
I am not
Then
drinking from the same bitter cup.
You shouldn't make it.
I do not pray that way. Tell you
He
right now.
taught you how to pray.
No.
He said, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom, God. He didn't teach you, but what we
He didn't say it was in your will. He did not say it
we
was in your
want
will about a prayer.
because we sitting up here
On
poor.
earth as it is in heaven.
But see, that's prosperity. We don't like prosperous prayers.
Pay
We like
attention to
poor
that prayer.
prayers.
We only
No,
pay attention
we
to
don't like as it is in the heaven,
impossible.
bring it on earth. That's a prosperity prayer. We
Yeah,
want poor
but
prayers.
that's religion and tradition. And that's what you call it?
Trash. Determinism. Trash. When
yeah,
determinism not trash, but Grace, we want poor
that's what
prayers.
we learn.
We want poor prayer. We want bitter cup
Whole mouth.
prayers.
Bitter cup press. No.
Bitter cup
He
prayers
did.
to
I didn't
borrow
come.
from Grace.
I didn't come to drink from the bitter cup. He did that already.
No, no,
What?
no.
Y'all
I
want
want heaven on
Moses to
earth
throw.
prayers.
Y'all want Moses to throw a piece of wood in a pond called Mara so you can drink instead of going to the next verse and getting 12 springs, 12 trees and 70 springs. No, other way around. 12 springs, whatever the hell I'm trying to say. You know, it's in the next verse.
Yeah.
God dog it. It's in the next verse. This don't make no sense. Listen, I got 4 minutes, man. I got 4 minutes. I got 4 minutes trying to convince everybody. I know I'm not going to convince you, but I just hope I plant a seed. And that seed is simple. Check your determinism because it ain't come from you. You are living in a system that is controlling your law of attraction. Choose ye this day. And that's how I'm going to end. Grace, if you Google choose ye this day, please, Grace, I got 4 minutes. It's Jeremiah 15, something like that. Just put choose ye this day ESV. And I need you to do this for me. I need you to do this as fast as possible, Grace. The whole time, Ebony, and your hair looks stunning right now. You hear me? Your hair, you about to catch you a whole husband with your hair curled and laid like that. Girl, look at you with your 18-year-old self. Go ahead, then. Go ahead. She is not 31, y'all. Me and Jerome rebuke that. Grace is about to share the screen. The whole time, y'all out here thinking choose ye this day was about God and the devil. That ain't got nothing to do with that. Grace, highlight it for me. Highlight it for me. Highlight it. Highlight it. Now, therefore, fear the Lord and serve him sincerity and in faithfulness. Put away your gods that your fathers served. Beyond the river in Egypt. Geographical location. Serve the Lord capitalized as Yahweh. And if it is evil in your eyes, serve the Lord, again, Yahweh, Adonai. Choose ye this day whom you will serve. Watch it. Choose ye this day whom you will serve, Renee. And then God fools around and tell you what the hell he talking about. Whether it be the God of your fathers that served in the region beyond the river, or the God of the Amorites who served in the land in which you dwell. Stop the screen, Grace. That's got nothing to do with the devil. Choose ye this day the God of the inlet or the God of them fish. But let me help you out something. Them folk had their own prosperity. I got 2 minutes. Better hurry up, y'all. I got 2 minutes.
So you mean to tell me God gave him permission to serve another God outside of himself?
No, what God is, that's that's polytheism. That is in your New Testament. You see it right here, but that's not what's being communicated here. Okay. What's being communicated here is a way of thinking, Jerome. Now you can serve the same God that had you slaves. Remember, Grace, what Bible, which verse is this in?
That was Matthew.
What chapter? Excuse me.
Chapter 24, verse 15.
Joshua, who took him out of slavery, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can remember the God that had you enslaved, the way I was thinking. Or you can remember the God of the enemy's gods, who our God just overthrown. Choose ye this day. Hear me well. I got 1 minute. Choose ye this day, Tracy. Prosperity or that other stuff. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. That has nothing to do with faith. There's no devil in the Old Testament. There's not at least not the way the first century Jews understand it. There's absolutely no heaven or hell talk here. It is saying, all right, Tracy, I got 30 seconds left. Nah, you're going to believe what your mama believe. Can I make it personal? All right, okay, Tanya. So you're going to believe what your mama believe. How's that working out for you? Or you can believe what your daddy believe. How's that working out for you? As for me and my house, we're going to listen to Antonio. You can't play better. You can't dominate. Love you, everybody.
Love
My
you.
God.
Love you more.
Clutching my pearls. Love you too.
Love
Love
you.
you more.
Okay, okay. Love you more.
They gonna kill me.